Thursday, June 5th. Welcome inside the vault for a Ravens lunch hour live stream. I am Bobby Trossett. My co-host and partner, Sarah Ellison, is on day one and just coming off a red eye in Zurich, Switzerland. She and her daughter, London, have landed safely. So shout out, Sarah. Shout out, London. I've already been communicating with them a little bit through Instagram DM, funny enough. So their trip is off to a great start. And my goodness, is today off to a wonderful start if you are a fan of homegrown Ravens, right? Meaning drafted players earning the right to stick around. And really, the Ravens organization have done right by one of those players. And his name is wide receiver Rashod Bateman, a former first-round pick back in 2021, earned a contract extension, his second in as many years. And that is your breaking news from earlier today that we are going to discuss for a good portion right off the top of today's live stream. On your way in, if you could please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, hit that notification bell, and perhaps consider either donating to the channel via gift giving or joining the channel as an official Voltron. And I see we are already off to a tear. Perhaps 600 official Voltrons are potentially in play today. Sean Kearney and Liv B both got it started becoming official channel Voltrons. And then Dreams, just a short while ago to kick things off, my guy Quion has gifted 5 channel memberships. So add 7 to 528, perhaps 600 is in reach. And maybe we got to shift that goal a little north for Friday because you already know what tomorrow is. Douglas H. Brown Sr. gets things going as well, saying, I will not be here tomorrow, so wanted to contribute today. We appreciate you, Douglas. Thank you for being here. It seems like you never, ever miss an episode. After Rashod Bateman's extension talk, we will chat a little bit about what Eric DaCosta had to say recently on a podcast related to really the latest on Lamar Jackson's extension talks and the fact that there have actually been in-person conversations had recently, as recently, I should say, as last week. After that, Nate Wiggins shared a major goal of his for 2025, a boatload of quick hits, and hopefully some super chats along the way. So again, appreciate you guys for being here. Let's discuss because it is a momentous day for the Ravens organization and for Rashod Bateman, a former first-round pick from 2021 who has just been extended. That's the news from earlier today. And when you think about the journey, some of the struggles, the adversity that Rashod Bateman has faced throughout his years in the NFL as a Baltimore Raven, it's really a full circle day and something that it's hard not to smile for number 7, especially when you look at the compensation update, which is what Adam Schefter from ESPN provided. It is a 3-year, $36.75 million contract extension. That includes $20 million guaranteed. Yes, when you look at the overall wide receiver market, given the production that Rashod gave to this team a year ago, he is still viewed as a bargain. But for my money, Bateman's value to this team, what you saw him provide to them last year as a complementary presence to Zay Flowers, somebody who stepped up and stepped in really in a lot of ways admirably in the postseason before getting injured himself, with Zay not being available, to me is just one of the many wrinkles from last year that speak to why the Ravens want Rashod Bateman in their immediate future. And that's exactly what they've done with this decision. Last year, not only did he post a full 17-game healthy season, but he had 45 receptions, 756 receiving yards, 9 touchdowns. It was a career year and then some for big play Bate, 16.8 yards per reception. He was explosive, a big play threat, a silky route runner, somebody that just kind of bought in to what they were doing when it could have gone south quickly because of the extension that he was awarded a year ago. Now, again, was he worth anything more at the time in terms of what he had posted his previous 3 seasons? No, and that's why the Ravens, from a business perspective, had to make a decision. And they decided to give him a little bit of security. And we'll get into all the specifics of really it wasn't really much of a risk, but they took a bet, right? They made a bet on Rashod Bateman a year ago, and my gosh, has it paid dividends a year later. We'll get into all the specifics down memory lane on that, but here are some more details. As you know, man, is she on vacation or is she working? I think she's in this little coffee shop or wherever she is in Zurich hanging out. I think maybe it was like a pasta spot that Sarah and her daughter London are hanging in, literally fresh off a red eye. And yet she's got Wi-Fi. You already know she's on the Twitter getting after it. So Sarah, busy at work on day one of vacation. Notes here. Yes, it's a 3-year, $36.75 million contract extension. That's on top of, according to Brian McFarland, friend of the show, Ravens salary cap analyst, on top of $10.75 million from the old deal. So he's going to be under contract for the next 5 years. That ties him to Baltimore through 2029, which is exciting, right? Because you don't feel like you've seen the ceiling of what Rashod Bateman can ascend to based on what he put on film and on tape a year ago. And yes, you will hear me say this many times throughout the course of this live stream. The Ravens did right by Rashod. Okay, they gave him a small pay bump last offseason after several injuries and other nuance, right? Kind of sidelined him and muddied the water for his first few years in the NFL. Sarah goes on to tweet, in a prove-it year, he went on to average, like I mentioned, 16.8 yards per catch, 9 touchdowns, more than doubling his previous years total-wise. He added another 2 touchdowns in the playoffs. He was a big play, reliable type guy. And as Sarah kind of summarizes here, now he's getting paid again, despite the Ravens having him under contract for cheap for 2 more years. It's good for both sides. Ultimately, it's great for the player. It's great for the organization. And I would imagine you guys out there are celebrating on a day like today as well, because this is a dude that's drawn the ire. He's drawn the ire of myself over the years. I've definitely expressed some doubt. I thought deservedly so for Rashod. The fan base has been extremely tough on him. He's dealt with his fair share of personal issues off the field, but he has stood tall, and ultimately he stayed in the fight. And I'll tell you exactly why in just a few slides from right now. And as Jameson notes, he has developed into a big play wide receiver for Lamar and under Lamar's leadership. He's the only player in the NFL last season to average at least 16 yards per reception and catch 9 or more touchdowns. Lamar spoke about him in season last year. I went into the archives because I remembered Lamar saying something similar to this, again, last season, expressing all kinds of confidence in what he has, I should say had, and has in Rashod Bateman.
Each other, us just trusting the play call, and just connecting with our chemistry. Because years ago, we was out in Cali and we was working, and it was right after the season. And our chemistry was there. You know, we both of us had injuries, you know, in the past, so our chemistry would die off some point of the season. But this year we've been healthy, and it's just been how it's been going, how it should be going. You know, just from going back to camp and just off-season work. Like I said, you know, I was training with him in Cali, you know, a couple years back. Us just grinding out here on the field, just seeing what type of player he is. I just knew he gonna be one of those guys. You know, it's just over time it's gonna happen eventually, and it's happening now. You know, perfect time, I believe.
And that was last year, and we'll see what else is ahead of Rashod Bateman gearing up for his first year under the new contract extension. But Lamar referred to him as that kind of guy. And he has been that guy. It was in flashes and small sample sizes his first, 3 years? But his third year, he put up almost a clean bill of health in 2023, right? And then in 2024, most importantly for Rashod, he stayed healthy. And once he was able to stack health, he went to the moon, skyrocketed statistically, skyrocketed with ratings like these. The highest passer rating when targeted in 2024 with a minimum of 60 targets. Well, Mark Andrews leads the way. 140.9 passer rating. That's through the roof. But Rashod cracked the top 8. and inside the top 10 here at 125.9. And when you look at some of the other players, separators, playmakers, Pro Bowlers, All Pros, is pretty darn good company to be in, courtesy of the 33rd team, this graphic. Again, Bateman and Andrews found their way onto this top 10 list. Pretty darn good company. And that just gets us started. There are plenty of analytics, plenty of statistics that help illustrate Rashod's impact last year. 77.8% of his 2024 receptions resulted in a first down or touchdown. That's 35 of 45. And that marked the highest rate in the NFL among players with 40-plus catches. He's a separator. He's got big playability. He certainly was that last year. That perceived, and I don't even want to say perceived because it was at times, the tape showed you there was a disconnect between he and Lamar entering last year. And while he was on the wrong end of a couple interceptions that never should have been picks for Lamar, that started to diminish. And that reliability, that connection, that rapport between Lamar and Bate was avid last year. It was undeniable. And the Ravens were better for it. He was one of the league's most effective wideouts when targeted. Again, in pretty darn good company here, A.J. Brown, Darnell Mooney, and Bateman, the only players with a 75% or more touchdown rate. Yeah. Touchdown first down rate, that is. You want more? He was one of the most, again, effective wideouts when targeted. EPA per target leaders among wide receivers with at least 70 targets in 2024. He found himself top 3 behind Amon-Ra St. Brown in Detroit and Devontae Smith in Philadelphia. Just behind them, fractions of a point. A.J. Brown and Terry McLaurin just south of him. So this is the type of player that the Ravens are not only investing in, but are going to have around for the foreseeable future, being that he is now under contract through 2029. And when you think about, obviously, some other priorities that exist out there when it comes to extensions, particularly at his position, knowing that if Zay Flowers puts forth another impactful year like I think we all expect him to, he's going to be a candidate for an extension after next year. There's no question about that. And he just changed representation as if to say, hey, it's go time. Let's roll. Brian McFarland just noting something here as we're live right now related to the monetary side of Bateman's contract. So his $3.75 million salary for 2025 became fully guaranteed back in March. It was injury guaranteed only prior to that. So that 3.75 is likely a part of the reported $20 million guaranteed, which is what Schefter said. Brian says we just don't know yet how much of the 20 M's is fully guaranteed and how much isn't. So just some nuance there within the language world of contractual details. Jonas Schaefer noting something here just in terms of usage and alignment and where Bateman falls in this puzzle piece of an offense for the puzzle piece owner and play caller in Todd Monken. And also perhaps a reason for optimism that Rashod could make 2025 even better than his 2024. Jonas writes, if DeAndre Hopkins can reliably win outside, Bateman can line up more in the slot. He got just 109 snaps and 28 targets there last year, low for any starting wide receiver, but was a top 5 wide receiver in yards per route run. So if DeAndre has more left in the tank to consistently and reliably win outside, perhaps you use Bateman inside in the slot. Again, we don't know how much DeAndre has left in the tank. We know he can still separate a little bit. We know that he's still got that contested catch frame. that dominant demeanor, somebody that can win those 50-50 balls, provide a tremendous amount of experience and savvy to an otherwise young and inexperienced wide receiver room. But I'd like to see if this reason for optimism has some juice to it moving forward. Get the D-Hop in a little bit. Here's some thoughts on the off-field and really on-field Rashod Bateman story that I think deserves and warrants repeat, a look back on, and a conversation. Because he stayed in the fight. Let's rewind things back to 2021. Rashod was a first rounder, late 20s if memory serves, out of Minnesota. And unfortunately, in early August, he goes down with a groin injury. I remember it well. Ultimately, it sidelines him for 5 games. He's placed on injured reserve, completely derails the start to his rookie season. And you're thinking to yourself, man, 12 games played, 4 of which were starts, 46 receptions for 515 yards, 11.2 yards per reception, and a touchdown in his rookie season. You give him a full training camp, you allow his legs to actually be underneath him to kickstart his rookie season. What do those numbers look like if you add 5 more games on there? Again, he still finished with 46 receptions, like I mentioned, 515 receiving yards. You're kind of left wondering after year one, like, oh, wow, Bateman showed a lot. But then 2022 came around. And what began was this disturbing trend of unavailability and this injury-prone reality that Rashod Bateman was dealing with. That label was attached to him locally, regionally, nationally. Became a major conversation. The Liz Frank foot setback in season 2022, his sophomore year, if you will. Shuts him down in November. He opts for surgery, plays just 6 total games. Brutal. 15 receptions for 285 yards, 2 touchdowns, 6 games played, 5 of which were starts. And all of a sudden, through 2 years in the league, the bust label starts to be thrown around at him. He's calling out Eric DeCosta. Sarah had transcribed something that he had mentioned at the combine about wide receivers and missing over the years. Bate took exception to it. Quote tweeted Sarah, called out the organization, called out Eric DeCosta. It got ugly. We all remember that. There were cryptic tweets in there along the way. There were dark times. He's opened up about loss and struggle. And between the ears struggles. And then fast forward, if we're in 2022 right now, after we rewinded, let's now fast forward to the offseason of 2023. The Ravens decide, hey, you know what? We're going to use a first-round draft pick again on a wide receiver and bring in Boston College's Zay Flowers. Young, energetic, explosive, similar measurables to Marquise Hollywood Brown. Is he going to be the replacement? But wait, actually, he's a lot stronger than Marquise. He's got more of a physical presence than Marquise. Damn, okay, there's a lot of excitement surrounding this guy. And Bateman, meanwhile, is almost kind of swept under the rug by many. They then sign Odell Beckham Jr. By the way, at this point, Lamar hadn't yet been signed to his contract extension. You were wondering what is about to take place here. They're bringing in Todd Monken. They fired and parted ways, however you want to label it, with Greg Roman. And so now, not only are the cards stacked at this point in 2023 before the season against Bateman in terms of what you can expect from him from a health perspective, his morale had to have been teetering, and he's now looking at a wide receiver room where he's sort of an afterthought because of the new additions. But what does he go and do? Puts forth a healthy 2023 season. 16 games played, 12 of which were starts, 32 receptions, 367 yards, 11.5 yards per reception, a touchdown, a good solid step in the right direction, which led the Ravens to say, you know what, man, this guy's agent really did him dirty. Y'all remember that? Remember, he didn't accrue accredited season in 23, which didn't allow him to even be eligible. He was ineligible to potentially cash in on the fifth-year option on his rookie deal. Remember that? That was a big thing, summer of 23. So he changed his representation, ultimately is totally stunned, surprised, to use his words, that an extension was even offered his way to the tune of 2 years, $12.8 million. Team friendly doesn't even begin to describe it. That is next level bargain in terms of the wide receiver position in the NFL, particularly given his former status as a first rounder. So Bateman literally started last year's training camp on the did not report list. That triggered the non-credited season and ultimately put Bateman in a tough position. So what do the Ravens do? Let's give this guy a little bit of security. We're going to give him a prove-it deal, 2 years, $12.8 million. And we're going to give him a little pay bump, and we're going to give him a little security along the way. Let's see how he responds. Well, how did Bateman respond, guys? 45 receptions, 756 yards receiving, 16.8 yards per reception, 9 touchdowns. Guys, he had 4 total his previous 3 seasons. This was a player that put his head down, shut his mouth, and went to work in 2024. Said and did all the right things with the media. Enhanced and improved his connection on the field with Lamar. That never wavered, I didn't get the sense, off the field. But it got a big boost in 24. He was reliable. He was explosive. And he was timely. Particularly in the postseason before he went down with that injury, knowing that Zay Flowers was down with his knee setback. Rashod Bateman put forth everything you could possibly want from a player that had underachieved his previous 3 seasons and totally fit right in his 4th year. The complementary duo that Zay Flowers and Rashod Bateman have become is lethal. It may not be what Cincy has, right? It may not be what Detroit has and some other teams that are rich at the wide receiver position, but it works for the Ravens because of how much they have in their tight end room, because of how much they have in their backfield, so on and so forth, with the litany of experience and explosiveness they have littered throughout this roster, offensively speaking. So ultimately, Rashod stayed in the fight, and he is incredibly deserving of what he was offered and awarded and what he earned to the tune of a 3-year, $36.75 million extension. It keeps him in Baltimore through 2029, as I've mentioned a couple times. Eric DeCosta and the Ravens front office do right by their homegrown player, their former first-round pick that has been through a lot over his first 4 years in the NFL. And you got to think, really more so than anything else, that Rashod Bateman's best days are ahead of him. And knowing that and feeling confident about that, I think, is a cause for celebration today. I am happy for Rashod. I have been a doubter in the past. Not a hater, but a doubter. I am genuinely happy for him. He's coming off a tremendous year. And should he continue to stack, and knowing that he ain't going anywhere anytime soon, and knowing that Zay is an absolute candidate to be extension eligible next year, to think about that duo moving forward, knowing that Lamar's extension is probably going to get done at some point in the near future, knowing that you got a lot of young talent at pass catchers in your program that you want to develop, that you want to give a chance. There's a lot to like right now about the targets that exist out there for Lamar Jackson. Congratulations to Rashod. Congratulations to the Ravens for getting this done. And there are a ton of super chats that I got to get into for your instant reaction. That's 27 minutes worth of instant reaction from me about Rashod. Park Heights Prophet, you already know the prophet himself in prophetic mode on this Thursday. And a $7 super chat, you already know the play on numbers that is. Missed yesterday, but back in the game. Throw up the bait, Batman signal. EDC knows ball, and now we have the wide receiver 1.5. Yeah, honestly, locked up. I saw what he did in Buffalo. LFG. You're giving wide receiver 3 money and to a lot of teams. Wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 type of money to a player that, I mean, is he going to flirt this upcoming season with wide receiver 1 in Baltimore? That's Zay Flowers until somebody says otherwise. But that's the beauty of the bargain. That's the beauty of the investment and what they cashed in on ultimately with an investment and a decision that they made a year ago to keep Bateman around, to bet on him in a sense. And my gosh, did that go full circle for them. Appreciate you, Park Heights. And an additional appreciation as well, because PHP is already in gift-giving mode on this Thursday. 5 more Voltrons have been gifted, channel memberships. So if I've done my numbers correctly, a lot of multitasking going on today. But the beauty of it is, as I told my Discord group, go join if you haven't already done so. When Bateman's news came down, just what the doctor ordered for solo hosting. You needed this. Absolutely needed this. We were at 535 prior to PHP's generosity. So that brings us to 540. Something tells me 600 is absolutely in play on this Thursday. Kevin Avila hits me with a $1.99 super chat. We appreciate you, Kevin. Will says at $12 million per year, that's a rebate for the Ravens. Still the next value in the NFL. Well said. Kevin also writes, good to see Bate coming through after years of injury. Love to see his growth. As do I. Sod Blitz 34 says Bateman was the number 43 ranked. Do not quote me on that. Bateman was the number 43 ranked wide receiver in 24 by PFF. Thank you, Sod. Jang has gifted the channel a Voltron membership. We see you, Jang. I see you in the Discord these days too, which is exciting. That brings us to 541. Sod Blitz 34. I'm just realizing that Sarah earlier this week figured out how you can live count what we're at in real time in terms of channel members, and then she never told me how to do it. So I got to go look into that. Sod Blitz 34 writes, if you're paying attention, that's Jackson number 2, Henry number 1, Hill number 14, Flower number 16, Hopkins number 23, Bateman number 43, Andrews number 4, and likely number 12. So that's according to PFF's overall grades, just by player side or by position? Overall player or by position? Be curious. Jang says, great day to be a Ravens fan. I finally figured out how to gift membership on my phone. Thanks for the tutorial yesterday, Tila. Oh, so Tila's handing out tutorials, huh? Thank you, Tila. And thank you, Jang. That's awesome. Flowers is number 14. The number 14 wide receiver, Sod Blitz, corrects himself from that previous super chat. Not a fan is checking in. Thank you guys for being here. Over 700 concurrents today. And my, oh my, the gift-giving run might be on. I'm just looking ahead here a little bit. But Steve writes, brings tears to my eyes to even have the thought or opinion that we have a deep wide receiver room. I don't know if deep is the right word, but it's a comfortable wide receiver room. Because you know you have Zay Flowers and Rashod Bateman that are starters, bona fide starters, Perhaps Rashod starts to flirt with a Pro Bowl caliber type of resume coming up this year. Zay's coming off his first honor, over 1,000 yards. After that, you've got the guy who, oh, by the way, just owns the most active receiving yards by any wide receiver, a future Hall of Famer in DeAndre Hopkins, who's chasing a ring, feels like he has more left to prove. After that, you've got some young guys coupled with somebody that I think obviously just continues to be such a staple, right? Such a glue guy, willing to do whatever it takes to win. And when he does have his number called and his name called, he answers, and that's Tylan Wallace. So, as I said yesterday, I think the Ravens wide receiver room will consist of 6 players. I think it's Zay Flowers. I think it's Rashod Bateman. I think it's DeAndre Hopkins. I think it's Tylan Wallace. I think it's LeJontay Wester. And I think it's Devontae Walker. Barring something unforeseen happening in training camp. Chris is in the building, and she continues her generosity from last week. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate you. Or was it from earlier this week? All the days are being mixed up. Chris's donation gets us to $546 as we inch closer to $550 and then $600 potentially after that. Not a Fan writes, we need to come together and find out where to buy that starter jacket Bates got on. That thing is clean. There's a couple in the Baltimore area, a couple novelty shops that I feel like I've seen those in. But that thing is, that retro kind of starter, yeah, it is clean as all heck. Park Heights Profit hits me with a $19.22 super chat. And he writes, this is for Tila. She knows why. Much love, because those poodles always have a wagon and smart as a whip. But in my house, it is salmon and apples until the day is done. LOL. 08. Apple, 08 Apple. I am incredibly confused right now. There must be a side conversation that's happening that I am not privy to, because I am currently looking at 845, 846. This number, 848. Live chat comments that I have not opened because I just can't deliver you a solid, well-paced, easy to consume show while reading comments. This is not going to work. So PHP, I'll try and figure out what on earth you mean by these words a little bit later on. PHP is checking in again. Man, he can write all the hieroglyphic type of super chats he wants. If the Voltron channel memberships keep coming in, what do I care? It's not even Friday. Payday came early. PHP gets us to 551. Heather McCubbins gets us to 552 and back to back. So that's 553. Are you guys enjoying my multitasking? We began the day, by the way, at 528. So we currently sit at 553. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, PHP. He's not done there. He says, fine, Chris, here you go. I won't speak on the doves I have met, but oh boy. And now I continue to be extremely confused. Clearly, Chris, Tila, and PHP are in on something. I have no idea what's going on here, but I look forward to figuring it out. David Scott says, I love Zay, but Bate is wide receiver 1 to me. Can't wait for this season. The numbers say otherwise. The target share say otherwise, David, but we'll see. Won't we ever? Park Heights Profit is just in giver mode right now. Okay, this is for Kels. I will hold on the last number for the one who were first because I pay for all that all year as it is. LOL. PHP, man, he's lining up his people. I kind of love it. Holly Keefe writes, PHP, an icon, a true legend in the Vault community. I concur, Holly. Thank you for the super chat. Mr. Johan Frizzle writes, Bateman got hurt, and most people, in parentheses, not real fans, in my opinion, gave up on him despite seeing his undeniable potential. The Ravens saw it and didn't let him get away. Could very well be the case. Laura Dillander writes, been trying for weeks to gift in Chrome, but money doesn't have option for me. Bummed. Love the show and watch all hours of the day. Keep up the fantastic show. Thank you, Laura. I don't know why Chrome's giving you that kind of trouble, but I don't know. Maybe try a different browser, or Maybe Tila can get with you and send over her carefully crafted tutorial for gift giving in the digital space. Rashod Bateman, by the way, fresh off the extension, putting in work at today's organized team activity. There will be a 2:30 press conference, by the way, for those of you who've been paying attention to the press conference schedule. So Bateman's out getting some work in. Maybe, just maybe he'll speak today, and we'll be able to discuss that tomorrow. A 10 spot from Andrew Browning. Appreciate you, Andrew. That gets us to 563. Why do I feel like we're going to hit 4 figures on tomorrow's show? I might just start drinking during it. Who knows? Andrew Browning, thank you for the 10 spot, man. Thank you so much. This goes directly towards our wonderful growing audience. We have 563 channel Voltrons and counting. David Anderson has just become 564. Mr. Johan Frizzle has gifted one, so that brings us to 565. As I live count it, 565. Liv B is celebrating 1 month of channel membership. This is one of the perks for those of you trying to figure out how this all works. Once you sign up, if you renew your membership, if you are on the receiving end of a gift, now once a month moving forward, you get a super chat with a comment that's attached to it. Liv B writes, bait extension. Let's go. Now we just need to get that LJ extension done. Can't wait for September. Hashtag Voltrons. It's a perfect segue into what we're getting into in just a few moments from now, Liv, related to where things stand with Lamar's overall extension. Sod Blitz 34 is okay. This is clarifying what I asked earlier to his previous super chats. So all those numbers that he gave us is positional ranking. Justice Hill's the number 14th running back. Flowers is the number 14th wide receiver. It is the deepest wide receiver group in the league. No one else has their top 5 receivers all ranked in the top 50. They have 5 top 50 ranked wide receivers? For real? Interesting nugget there. Thanks, Sod. C. Brittle has become a new channel member, and that now brings us to 566 on this Giving Thursday. David Scott writes, if you factor in Bates' route running, his deep threat ability, plus touchdown production is my reasoning. All those things is what he does at an elite level. And he's going to have a chance to showcase that he's worth even more than what he's just earned and what he's been given in the form of a contract extension. That is today's breaking news. We appreciate you guys for being here so much. Andrew Browning with a 50 spot on top of the 10 Voltrons that he just gifted. Sarah's tweeting, by the way, as we speak. This chick, man, my partner can't get enough of it. Chilling in Zurich, downtown Zurich, Switzerland, still tweeting about this Rashod Bateman extension. How about Andrew Browning with a 50 spot? I feel bad because I took a break from Ravens content after the playoffs. Just want to support you all for being the best Ravens podcast. Happens every year, dude. Happens every year. We get it. It hurts, obviously, but we're so glad that you're back now, and hope you're ready for this final push en route to training camp. We got a lot planned, including right now in the works is our first ever, our inaugural Vault merch line drop. We're dropping a merch line. I cannot wait for it. It's been an awesome time. There are over 1,000 comments right now that I have not opened because that's how many super chats have come in throughout today's live stream. You guys are insane. I have so much more content to get to, by the way, which is problematic. One more before I get back to the content. God King has gifted a membership. Appreciate you, God King. And that now brings us to 567. I have more topics to get into. I have quick hits. It is 1240. Perhaps between now and the end of the show, we hit that 600 number. We started at 528. We are now at 567. If you want to help me get there to 600, just let me know. It goes directly towards the daily efforts that go into this show. 1,014 live chat comments. Unbelievable. You guys are incredible. Please like the video on your way in. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and hit that notification bell. We're so glad to have you here. Sarah, for those who haven't been paying attention, is in Switzerland on vacation for the next week plus. So glad, so deserving, obviously, of a vacation and getaway. So glad she's able to do that with her daughter, London, who is really a sweetheart. I'm going to take a swig of water, and then we're going to get to the next piece of content. All right, off we go. Okay. Here's what I have next for you. When will Lamar Jackson's contract extension domino fall? Obviously, he is worthy and eligible, and certainly it could be in the works behind the scenes in terms of where things are at. Eric DeCosta and John Harbaugh have been asked about it a number of times in recent months at their various media press conference availabilities. And what we know, based on the offseason that has been, is that Josh Allen and the Bills have provided a floor. It's a 6-year, $330 million contract extension. That's what Josh earned back in March. It included $250 million guaranteed. That's the largest guarantee an NFL franchise has ever given a player. I think we can probably all agree, given the resumes, given the seasons that these two respective players are coming off, and given Lamar's importance and how the market works, this is the floor. Eric DeCosta, Ravens general manager, caught up with Mike Bordick and Jerry Coleman on their Baltimore baseball podcast recently within the last week or so and provided an update on where things stand. Here he is.
Talking with him right now about things or just letting things lie as they are?
Well, we've had some conversations before the draft, after the draft, in person last week. I think we're in the introductory sort of stage of looking at what an extension might look like. We've got a lot of business that we're conducting with different players, and we're in a situation where we're blessed to have most of the team coming back. But as we look out over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, we're trying to keep as many good players as we can. So we've got some guys that we feel like have the chance to really be prolific players for us that can be here a long time. We're trying to get as many of those guys signed up as possible. That's a big challenge, and Lamar's certainly a big part of that, but there are other players as well.
Did you guys catch that in the beginning? Just in case you didn't, let's rewind this quickly after Jerry asked the question, because Eric sort of said it under his breath. And while there isn't anything that's overly substantive in terms of where things stand, the fact that there are in-person conversations that have been had as recently as last week got to be an encouraging sign with where they're at. Again, listen to that once more.
Had some conversations before the draft, after the draft, in person last week. I think we're in the introductory sort of stage of looking at what an extension might look like.
Okay. All right. I mean, look, bottom line is when you look at the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL, Lamar is a bargain. We have seen throughout the last 7 years what Lamar is, and I should say what the Ravens are with and without Lamar. They are borderline not even contending for the postseason without Lamar Jackson. Now, given that King Henry is here now, I could say earlier on in his career, in the Greg Roman era, I could probably confidently tell you that this would not be a postseason team without Lamar. Now, I'd like to think they'd be able to squeak in as a wild card team, but then again, they're in one of the most rigid, stiffest, most difficult divisions in all of football, and that is the AFC North. The reality is, as these deals tend to be, right? At this point in Lamar's contract that he signed back in 2023, he is a bargain. He is the 9th highest paid player in terms of average annual salary, okay, at $52 million. Dak Prescott leads the way in Dallas at 60. Josh Allen and Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow and Jordan Love are all in that second chair, interlocked at $55 million. Tua is paid more on an average annual basis than Lamar at 53.1. Jared Goff, 53. Justin Herbert, 52.5. I think we all know where Lamar Jackson deserves to be, and I think we all know where Lamar will ultimately end up. Josh Allen leapfrogged a number of players from 14th to 2nd in terms of average annual value, given his massive extension. And so I think moving forward, again, Josh Allen and his contract has provided a floor. And while there isn't anything concrete that Eric DeCosta has been willing to reveal, the fact that they've had conversations pre-draft, the fact that they've had conversations post-draft, they've had in-person conversations as recently as last week. Could this be a sign that things are starting to ramp up a little bit and perhaps they hope to get something done prior to the season? We all know the reality of the way this deal is structured. And if you don't remember off the top of your head, I'll give it to you right now. Lamar signed a 5-year, $260 million deal with $185 guaranteed, 23 offseason, right? We all remember that. He was the highest paid player at the time. Didn't last long. At $52 million annually, again, 9 overall, top 9 in terms of average annual value amongst his peers. In 25, he's got a salary cap hit of $43.5 million. Okay, that's according to Over the Cap. If this extension talks were to linger and he were to, theoretically, this cannot happen, but theoretically, if he were to play 2026 under the current contract extension, or I should say, the extension that he was awarded in 23, his cap hit would skyrocket to 74.5 for 26. It's not optimal. It's not feasible. It's not doable. Makes zero sense. Lamar's number one priority when it comes to eligible candidates for this extension. Obviously, Kyle Hamilton is at the top of that list. You would think Tyler Linderbaum is up there. Isaiah Likely is up there after his contract season. We'll see what happens to Mark Andrews. I'd have to think he's going to, if he puts forth a similar year to what he put forth this past year, then somebody's going to be willing to pay him maybe more than what the Ravens would be willing to do. So, and there are others out there as well, by the way, on both sides of the ball that you're looking at. And if you're Eric DeCosta, you're really starting to allocate or have future visions in terms of, all right, let's set some money aside, or let's set plans aside for our priorities when it comes to future eligible extension candidates. Lamar's at the top of the list. Josh Allen has provided the floor for that deal. This is going to get done at some point, and I wonder if this is just the latest parceling here, the latest little tidbit to suggest that it could be coming soon prior to the 2025 season. We'll see. Hang on tight. A guy that, if he continues the hot start that he's had throughout the beginning of his young career, could very well be somebody that's a candidate, somebody that is coveted, somebody that is prioritized around, is Nate Wiggins, the second-year cornerback, of course, out of Clemson, the first rounder from a year ago. And how about this from the 33rd team? They ranked rookies with the most havoc plays in 24. And Nate Wiggins found himself on this list with 15. And some pretty darn good company, by the way, above and below him. Havoc stats, combined several disruptive defensive plays, sacks, forced fumbles, interceptions, tackles for a loss, and passes defensed. That is havoc plays. That's how it's defined. Nate Wiggins, by the way, in terms of overall goals, he wants a whole lot more of these havoc plays. Listen to what he told the guys on the lounge earlier this week. Fearless.
Get 10 plus turnover, no matter like interceptions and forced fumbles.
10?
Yeah, I need 10 plus.
That would be a hell of a year.
Yeah, that's a high one. And really just keep on what I did last year. Just my coverage wise, and be all around cornerback, showing up in the run, covering. So yeah, this year I feel like it's gonna be good.
Did you guys catch that in the beginning? Nate Wiggins kind of putting his not bulletin board material, but whatever's on his bulletin board or whatever is on his goal list. He's just straight up talking about it. Listen to that once more.
Just really get 10 plus turnover, no matter like interceptions and forced fumbles.
10?
Yeah, I need 10 plus.
That
10 plus. 10 plus. This guy's like shooting for the moon. You got to love that. But again, the most havoc plays in 24 kind of leads you to believe that that lofty goal is absolutely within reach for number 2. 15 havoc plays. Again, Edgerrin Cooper among rookies had 21. Nate Wiggins, right in the middle of this really impressive pack of young rookies from their first year last year. How about target EPA leaders among corners for the 24 season? Take a look. Nate Wiggins led the way at minus 28.4. Cooper DeJean, one of the heroes from the Super Bowl for Philadelphia on this list. Paulson Adebo, Pat Surtain, arguably the best top corner in the entire league. Marlon Humphrey on this list. And that kind of all of a sudden brings you to some of the lists that are out there, right? Perhaps that are overlooking the duo that Wiggins and Humphrey could become for a second consecutive season. Because John Costco of PFF does not have Marlon and Nate among his top cornerback duo rankings around the league. Notably, they are left off this list. Obviously, there's plenty to choose from. You got Stingley and Lassiter in Houston, Benford and Johnson in Buffalo, DeJean and Mitchell, tremendous young players in Philly, Witherspoon and Woolen in Seattle, so on and so forth. So will they get that kind of recognition that they potentially deserve? Maybe. Maybe. Wiggins was one of just 3 defensive backs last season to be targeted 50-plus times and allow 0 touchdowns. Thanks, Ravens Nation Live, for taking care of business on that one. And oh, by the way, while there were, of course, a fair share of issues on the back end last year when it comes to the pass defense, on paper, you'd like to think they're going to be able to have a darn good chance of picking up where they left off last year. Yes, no Ardarius Washington, but this guy who PFF believes is the number 1 rated safety league-wide, as long as he's out there, you got yourself a chance to be an elite defense. Kyle Hamilton, a top 10. And what I mean by top 10, he's top 2 and he's not 2. Kyle Hamilton, according to Zoltan here, the top overall safety in the entire land. Pretty good company and a pretty good list to be chilling on top of if you're number 14. It's been a minute since I looked at the live chat. It's been a minute since I looked at what's going on in the super chat section. So let's get back to it before we get to quick hits and maybe even one more thing. I think, God King, I got you in there, right? I did. So we're at 567 in terms of overall members. Appreciate you, God King. DreDog679 says, when you go bargain shopping at skill positions, you get bargain results. Hopefully Lamar can kick it up yet another level with mid-tier talent. Tila brings us to 572. Appreciate you, Tila. Thank you. You and Chris going blow for blow today. Got to love it. 572. And King Lee shows up and he says, hey, I'm going to get you to 573. So in other words, we are closing in on that 600 number, which I didn't necessarily expect to land on this Thursday. We haven't landed there yet, but maybe we do before it's all said and done. Holly says, got to thank Tila Girl for the membership gift. Oh, that's nice. Because you guys are tight as it is, and then you just so happen to be randomly involved on the receiving end, which is awesome. Douglas H. Brown Sr. says, we're working you, Bobby. Sarah would be proud of you. Yeah, there's over 1,500 comments in there. I mean, it's absurd. You can't do it all at the same time, unfortunately. Dre Dog says Lamar's $70 million per year. Hope he gets all that. Hold that. Lady Laura Baltimore says, to the best fan base family, I thank you. We are a family because we want to be. And Bobby, you are doing a good job. The ladies are growing in here. Uh-oh. The ladies are growing in here. First it was the Minx to Cutie. Or Minx to Cutie. Then it was Tila. I'm not sure if this is chronological or not. Then it was Chris. Then it was Holly. Then it was Mimi Ray making a play yesterday. Who else am I missing? Quite a few. Sherry. I haven't seen Sherry in a long time. Who else? Jang. Man, I could probably just start ripping these off if I wanted to, but who else am I missing out there? That's cool, though. And now I'm actually scrolling. Oh, no. You guys are incredible. You are really, really incredible. You know that? I'm reading some of these now. Not a fan writes, don't read the chat, Bobby. Torres is spraying baby oil all over the place and soliciting Diddy Party subscriptions. I kind of want to hop into the chat. Torres, you've been acting a fool lately, haven't you, you Texas boy? Freaking guy. 573 out from Voltrons. From, I should say, 600 Voltrons. Back to Super Chats, back to gift giving, if it continues. If the run continues, I should say, in just a bit. That brings us to quick hits and some videos as well. And how could I possibly forget that Kyle Hamilton showed a bunch of love to one Nate Wiggins earlier on in this offseason. Remember this? He sat down with Chris Long from Greenlight.
One guy I think is going to be really, really good is Nate Wiggins.
Yeah. He was a stud.
And he's one of those corners just like, if he could line up every single play and play man, he would do it. Like, just, coach, leave me alone. I just want to lock this dude up. And, it is awesome to see that competitor and a young dude like that. And I think he's going to be really good.
High praise from K Ham for sure with Chris Long, somebody that is on the other end. And by the way, of this from just kind of on the outside looking in these days, but was a pretty darn good and a successful Super Bowl winning champion at the cornerback position as well, is Chris McAllister. I had a chance to hang out with him during one of the pregame tailgates at Be-More Around Town last year. And you might remember this segment.
Wiggins ceiling. I don't think he has one. It's like I think we have a lot of young talent around here. I think the front office of the Baltimore Ravens does a great job of identifying talent, and I think that everybody that's out there has a great opportunity.
Okay, he doesn't have a ceiling from Chris McAllister. You might remember that one. C-Mac checking in. That guy knows how to have a good time. What about somebody that is also a former Clemson Tiger and somebody that Nate Wiggins probably is going to have assigned to him at some point throughout this offseason program, especially during the dog days of training camp when guys are fighting for roster spots and whatnot. Not that Nate's fighting whatsoever. He is a mainstay. He is a shoo-in. But DeAndre Hopkins, Eric DeCosta from that same interview, that same episode with Mike Bordick and Jerry Coleman on their Baltimore baseball podcast, had this to say about how he views DeAndre Hopkins.
We had a chance to watch him last year in Kansas City. He's a guy that's been very productive, and I think experience really does matter. And so we're not really looking for a first receiver, a second receiver. We're really looking for a guy that in different situations, he plays big, he's got strong hands, he's an excellent red zone receiver. So we're looking for a guy that really I think could be a third receiver. And understand also that in our situation with our personnel, we're going to have two tight ends on the field quite a bit. And we're going to have Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely on the field with Bateman and with Zay and at times with Hopkins. And so I think we've assembled a group of guys that can make plays in different ways. We have a lot of different personnel groupings that we can use, versatility for our coaching staff. Not to mention the fact that we can run the ball with 3 or 4 different running backs, including our quarterback, who can also run the ball. So I think we're going to be a nightmare for teams to defend against this year. I think our offensive line is going to continue to improve and grow. We've got some younger guys, and I think they're going to make a jump. So I'm very, very excited about the offense this year, and I think we're going to be a nightmare for different teams.
Live chat, you're absurd. They are going to be a nightmare for sure. There is going to be a lot of 12 personnel, you would think, with 2 tight ends. No doubt with Andrews and Likely, they ran a lot of that personnel alignment last year, and I would suspect that would continue. One little nugget in there that was a little bit different, slightly different from what Todd Monken shared earlier this week is that, hey, we're looking for a third wide receiver, is what Eric DeCosta noted there. Todd Monken, when he talked about DeAndre Hopkins and his overall wide receiver room, just slightly little different. And it's different jobs. It's different roles, right? DeCosta is a talent evaluator, right? A talent cultivator. And Todd Monken is a talent, is implementer a word? That's what he is, right? He needs the talent, and then he needs to utilize the talent. Eric needs to gather the talent. So I think there is obviously a difference there, but this is what Todd Monken had to say earlier this week. We covered it yesterday.
Have too much talent, try to figure out how to manage it, how to have everybody embrace their role, than not have enough. So we love having another weapon. I thought Nelly the last couple of years did a great job for us as our third receiver. I don't really see D-Hop as a third receiver. I see him more as we have 3 starters at wide receiver. But we also have the 2 tight ends. So it'll be interesting as we get going especially once we get to camp and we get the pads on, how we can integrate him into the offense. But we're excited.
So again, just ever so slight different way, right? There's a slight difference in those answers, but again, there's different roles, and ultimately DeAndre Hopkins is somebody that is not a necessity, but somebody that could come up big in small sample situational examples of this upcoming season. I'll continue to believe that he will bring that level of OBJ savvy to an otherwise young and inexperienced wide receiver room, and perhaps he could come in pivotal, timely plays with the ability to win, the ability to be that high-impact, contested catch-winning 50-50 ball guy. And I think that's why they're bringing him in. It's a cheap $5 million deal, and he wants a Super Bowl title. And there's quite a few guys in this locker room that want exactly that. A quick pause from Quick Hits because, first of all, the live chat is off the freaking the hinges are off today, apparently, in this live chat. But I also see that we are getting awfully darn close to 600. We're currently at 573, so I better get back to the tally, better get back to some of these super chats before we continue the conversation. Park Heights Profit with a $19.08 super chat. He writes, had to drop this for the first and the finest. Bobby, these numbers I have dropped, 4 in total, correspond to the sororities that some of the Vault ladies belong to, helping you a bit. LOL. Thank you for that context, PHP. The sororities that the ladies belong to. I believe he has gifted Chris, Tila, and Kels so far. What sororities do these ladies belong to? And how do I infiltrate these sororities? Let me know, PHP. Dre Dog, when are you giving us the intel that you have? Sod Blitz 34 writes, when I said their top 5 receivers, I meant wide receiver and tight end. Okay, that's what I thought so as well. Thank you for clarifying. Chris is doubling up and matching her previous gift of 5. So that brings us to 578. Chris, you're unbelievable. You're on a freaking roll lately. PHP comes in and says, hey, I'm going to go blow for blow, and I'm going to add 5 in there as well. So 10 more to 573 makes 583. And I got to tell you, we're in pretty darn good position here with a few more minutes left, including a one more thing, to hit that 600 number and begin the Friday show with a goal of hitting 700. Will we do it? Who will get us there? Currently 17 Voltrons, channel members out from that 600 number. Whether you want to become one, whether you want to gift one, it goes directly towards our daily efforts. And obviously, when you gift, not only are you brightening someone else's day, but you're just continuing to enhance and help grow this channel. And it really goes quite a long way. I appreciate you guys so much for this continued generosity that we've seen, just an outpouring of these last couple months. God King writes, it's if the old line takes a big jump, it's Super Bowl. And maybe it will. And what you mean by old is O, correct? If the O line, because I don't think they're old. Matter of fact, they're really not old at all. Ronnie's the oldest. He's been around for a while. Back to super chats. One more thing, or excuse me, back to quick hits. That is, if you give me a reason to come back to super chats, I will. But I got one more thing, and we got to finish up quick hits as well and get some patrons in here on top of that. Tom Pelissero noting yesterday that J.K. Dobbins, former Ravens and Chargers running back, is headed to Denver, not to play yet, but to have dinner with coaches and visit the facility. That's what he's doing today, according to this report. The dynamic Dobbins, who had over 1,000 yards from scrimmage and 9 touchdowns in 24, now could land with an AFC West contender. I hope JK continues to get paid, continues to get opportunities. He will always be looked at, in my mind, as what if? What if he had remained healthy in Baltimore? What if? Don't know the answer to that, but man, I would have loved to have seen it. Another former Raven, Tristan Colon, who was a backup center for a few years in Baltimore, former undrafted rookie. He is being signed by Detroit. He started 7 games for Arizona last season, and he joins Detroit after the retirement earlier this week of Frank Ragnow. So congratulations to Tristan for extending his career. And Ravens West continues. Why wouldn't it? Kevin Weidel had been with the organization since 2017. But the Chargers are plucking him from Baltimore. Stop me if you've heard this one before. They are hiring him as a national scout. So one of Eric DaCosta's key members, Kevin Weidel, he'd been there since 17. He now goes to the Chargers as a national scout with the rest of Baltimore. And Baltimore's past, for sure. In terms of what's going on in the AFC North, Daniel Oyefusi, who covers the Browns for ESPN, friend of the show, great dude, super talented, says Browns OTA practice just ended. This was yesterday. It was a strong day for Shedeur Sanders, who notably was the only quarterback not to take reps with the first-team offense today. Stefanski has downplayed the practice order and first-team reps, but we'll see if that changes during mandatory minicamp next week. This will be very, very interesting to watch. Will Joe Flacco be named the starter like he is expected to? I believe he will. But will Shedeur make a play this offseason, throughout this offseason program and into training camp, that he deserves a nod? Dylan Gabriel, obviously, in this room, as well as Kenny Pickett, who was brought in from Pittsburgh. So I've also seen some reports from Kimberly Martin of ESPN that there is, quote, a path for Shedeur to become the starter. Don't know the specifics of that report in terms of like, well, what's the path? Is it an immediate path, or is it a path at some point in his rookie season? When is that? Remains to be seen. You know we're going to be watching this one closely. Currently sitting at 583 channel Voltrons. If you'd like to be involved in heroic efforts to get us to that 600 number before I close today. Yo Jitsu has been a member for 3 months now. Congratulations on channel membership, Yo Jitsu. You signed up with us. You must have in March, and now it's 3 months in. Let's go, Voltrons. I'll keep saying it until it comes to fruition. We are taking it all this year. Thank you, Jitsu. Chris says, these last $2, I'm not going to lose. You've been losing money? What have you been doing, Chris? Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Patrons, Jason Barrett and Blake Yaspa. I do have one more thing coming up in just a second here. I do have patrons to show some love to. Jason Barrett, Blake Yaspa. Appreciate you. By the way, fun fact about Jason. This goes back to what I was discussing earlier in the week. What if I told you that Jason will have a front row seat to my planning abilities for that best man honor that I have in next year's bachelor party weekend in Killington, Vermont? Jason is one of the groomsmen for the groom, who's my former college roommate. And Jason, just know this chat really, really is pushing for the involvement of Canadian strippers. Not me, them. So maybe they want to fund that. Maybe we should just not mention it again at all. But yeah, that's all I have there. March of 2026, Jason will be one of the 11 that will be squeezing his ass into a hot tub so we can all hang out there, smoke cigars, drink, ski, and hang out in a freaking awesome cabin that I found just outside of Killington. One more thing is my latest lifestyle Instagram reel post. You guys know the drill. I'm having a little bit of fun this summer. My mother and I are attacking project after project here at the place that I spent my first 18 years of life. It's my childhood home in upstate New York. Last year, we painted this entire thing. That meant pressure washing, scraping, painting, entire house. It was as cumbersome of an event as I have ever tackled. And this year, we have other priorities. We've already covered some pretty good ground. We just replaced every single AC unit, took a ton of stuff down from the attic. We're decluttering the living you-know-what out of this place. We are growing grass, regrowing grass, tree removing, driveway paving, garage cleaning, you name it. And that's what you're supposed to do as the son of a single empty nester who's the best person ever. But how we're getting through it is through humor. And so you guys have seen, I shared it with you last week, the Instagram post from the decluttering side of things. It's essentially a parody type of Instagram post. But this time I got another one for you. And you guys know where to find me. It's a lot of lifestyle stuff, behind the scenes stuff, non-football related stuff these days. On Instagram, at Bobby Baltimore. And here's what we got into last night. Yeah, dating. We got into dating. Hope you guys enjoy this one.
Your help. I'm having a hell of a time trying to convince my soon-to-be 60-year-old beautiful mother to get back on the online dating scene.
Don't even get me started on Bobby's approach to the dating apps.
I mean, come on. She's raised 4 kids. She's a business owner, entrepreneur for 25 years running. She's outgoing, heart of gold. No, Mom, you're not meeting guys at bars anymore. You got to try something different.
I'm a little reluctant to take Bobby's advice because this is the guy who shares as soon as he matches with somebody on Hinge that he wants a white picket fence and 4 kids.
Does she not want companionship?
At this rate, grandkids are not going to be in the cards anytime soon.
Grandkids, my ass. We got to start scheduling dates.
Not only did he reveal my age, but he didn't put a filter on this.
Guys, I need your help. I'm having a hell of a time trying to convince my soon-to-be 60-year-old beautiful mother to get back on the online dating scene.
Don't even get me started on Bobby's approach to the dating apps.
I mean, come on. She's raised 4 kids. She's a business owner, entrepreneur for 25 years running. She's outgoing, heart of gold. No, Mom, you're not meeting guys at bars anymore. You got to try something different.
I'm a little reluctant to take Bobby's advice because this is the guy who shares as soon as he matches with somebody on Hinge that he wants a white picket fence and 4 kids.
Does she not want companionship?
At this rate, grandkids are not going to be in the cards anytime soon.
Grandkids, my ass. We got to start scheduling dates.
Not only did he reveal my age, but he didn't put a filter on this.
Should have been arse. Excuse me, Sarah, for, just in case she's watching from Switzerland. Connect with me on Instagram at Bobby Baltimore. It's all in good fun. She body bagged me, by the way, with that picket fence and 4 kids comment. But we were having a good time with it. We're enjoying the summer together, obviously. And, the umbrella over it all is just cherished moments that, we'll just look back at this and freaking laugh. So, but yeah, that's my one more thing. That's how I've been spending some of my time this off season. And appreciate you guys for, I almost gave you another 90-minute, but I ain't doing that. Got a lot to get to. At Bobby Baltimore on Instagram, at Bobby Baltimore on X or Twitter. You guys know the drill, I believe. We had a couple, by the way, the Bobby Baltimore Discord server, 24/7 hub for conversations surrounding Baltimore sports. Would love for you to join that. You can visit the show notes below. It is free to join, and I would love to have you there. I think we actually aren't caught up to speed. Park Heights Prophet says these ladies need to shout out their own organizations. I agree, because I am just totally in the dark, and I have 2,000 plus comments to comb through once I finish up the live. Looks like we're going to be just short of that 600 number. I trust that we'll hit that tomorrow. Maybe even 7 is in the cards. Who knows? But we finished at 583 channel Voltrons on the day. We began at 528. Richard on the way out says, here's for your Montreal strippers. Goodness, Richard, thank you so much. And thank you for texting me yesterday too. I just outed you, but you did text me. You were excited about that topic, weren't you? Anyway, 583. 583 is where we enter Friday on. Yvette writes, do not have your mom go on dating apps. Face orange raised eyebrow. What is that? Look, I get it. The dating apps are a friggin' hellhole in a lot of ways, but I want her to give herself some chances, right? Some quality chances, put herself out there a little bit, and just have a little bit of fun with it. That's all I'm really looking for. It's the same thing I feel about me. She is full-time remote. And so with me being full-time remote as well, your whole life really revolves around what we do, first of all, and the room that we do it in, when it comes to, professional related items. But then when you get out to the gym, when you get out to the grocery store, I mean, those are limited social interactions. So that's all I'm saying. I am talking about you, actually, because my one more thing episode today, as you guys, I think I've told you before that our walls are incredibly thin, and Mom heard this segment going on upstairs, and now she's coming down the stairs. This is impromptu. How did you know? I mean,
I can hear your voice reverberating throughout the entire house.
Well, Yvette says, do not have your mom go on dating apps. She's not happy. And, but I think they enjoyed the one more thing overall. Gift memberships are flying in here, by the way. They want to get us to 600. Chris gets us to 584. PHP now gets us to 585. So there's still a chance that 600 is within reach going into this Friday. But what did you perk up when you heard our one more thing being discussed down here?
I was just a little worried down here. And I am pretty worried about these apps. So thank you for all the warnings out there. There's a lot of creeps out there. But I know there's got to be nice people too.
But I think you got to be enjoying it because I came out on the porch this morning and you're just kind of scrolling through. You got Sarah Caldwell, former anchor in Baltimore, is commenting.
Good advice.
You got people in the live chat that are commenting. They're all loving it. They're weighing in with feedback.
Yeah. No, it's helpful. It's helpful. I just can't do it the way we did it, 30 years ago or whatever. So
spiffy.
Oh, I had a meeting.
Should have worn my seersucker.
I know you're looking a little
nappy. This is my.
You gotta iron that.
Yeah. This thing is it's hot. It's hot up here. We just put all of our AC units in, and
yes, thanks to you.
Not sure what you were doing there with the hosta placement yesterday, but
yeah, thanks for not digging any holes for me. Anyway, I'll let you get back to work.
You continue side plotting your lifestyle side hustle here for potential influencing. There's a lot of people that are calling for that. You can follow her at Hey, it's Leslie Marie on Instagram. The mouthful. Hey, it's Leslie Marie.
Man, the number of insults. Bobby, can I say this? No, Mom, it's a terrible idea. It's a terrible idea. Well, how about this, Mom? Or how about this, Bobby? No. Just listen to what I do and do what I say. I'm like, oh, okay.
Creative control. Creative control stays on this side.
Little control.
You gotta earn that sucker.
Okay. All right. Bye.
All righty. Till meanwhile is on the wraparound in the back. Sarah would have wanted to be here for that one. I know that. And maybe, just maybe, that interaction, Mom, got us to 600. I got some tallying up to do. You can click today. My goodness. Hold on a second. 585 is where we left off. And that was with PHP. Tila and Chris gifted, on top of what they've already done, which is 5+ additional memberships, one apiece, brings us to 587. So you're saying there's a chance. You guys just want 90 minutes of content. I know how you do it. Hold on a second. The super chats are flying in. Mom, you shouldn't have left. Not a fan says, we love your mama, Trossett. Park Heights Prophet says, Mama T, get your son right. Bobby rushed to the altar, Trossett. Mom, you're missing out. You're missing out on all the super chats that are flying in right now. This is hysterical. I'll just read them to you. Not a fan says, we love your mama. Park Heights writes, Mama T, get your son right. Bobby, in quotes, rushed to the altar, Trossett. Dre Dog writes, what up, Mom? Thank you for bringing this world a wonderful son. Appreciate you, Dre. Saad Blitz says, I'm 42 and no way I'm ever using a dating app. Holly says, Mama T should join a pickleball club. The perfect opportunity.
Yes.
And you already, somebody on Instagram already made that comment as well, giving you a little bit of feedback. Chalky White has just become a new channel member. Do you have anything to add, by the way, on that? 588 brings us to 12 out from 600. We began the day at 528. It's been an incredible new feature. Do you have anything else to weigh in on when it comes to your romantic life? Come on back into the picture now.
I don't know. This is an awkward conversation.
Somewhere Sarah's like, I can't believe I'm missing this segment. You got to be kidding me.
Where is Sarah? Lucky Sarah. She's off traveling the world.
Well, what's going to be electric is when I ultimately get down to St. Pete and you inevitably show up for the entire winter and your dating world goes through the roof because of a different change of scenery.
There's a saying that a client of mine was just saying, change your location, change your life.
As much as I enjoy, I love her. As much as I enjoy, though, what we've built here, I think we could be on the verge of a little lifestyle duo that's upcoming with a lot of influencing potential here. And so I'm just going to throw that out there. I'm a Ravens content creator until otherwise noted, but we could be onto something here.
I don't know. We'll see. But I do like the pickleball advice. I've
Holly.
only played twice though, and so maybe I can get back out there. I'm running a pickleball tournament charity event in October.
In upstate New York, we got a few subscribers that hail from here. Jang writes, Mama T seems like a great wing woman.
A wing woman for you?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, do you feel the same way? Does it go vice versa?
I think so.
I mean, we're building you up online. And what did I call you yesterday? I called you beautiful. I called you. You raised
I told
4
you to
kids.
say those things, right? Didn't I? Like, Yeah. He says, I'm going to tell everybody you raised, 4 kids. I'm like, so like nobody cares about that.
You raised 4 kids. You're an entrepreneur, 25 years running.
Nobody cares about that.
By the way, shameless plug, if you need coaching in the digital world, if you need a website design, whatever you need within the digital friendly world that is ever changing, right here.
I'm your girl.
Right here. Leslie Horn Marketing. Hey, it's Leslie Marie on Instagram. Shameless plug.
I've changed that a little bit.
Yes.
All right. Where in the world is John today?
John is trying to sleep, and his hostel mates in a beach coastal resort town outside of Tokyo are snoring to no end, which is essentially going to be my entire time from June 25th to July 5th, because as you guys know, that's our dark period. I'm going out to Hong Kong and Vietnam, and I'm traveling with John, her youngest son, my youngest brother, 22 years old, and his buddy JJ. And I like to stay in hostels, but his snoring Instagram story that he put up sounded like a wind turbine.
Kind of goes with the territory.
So anyway.
But yeah, follow John Tross on the Run.
Tross on the Run.
Follow Tross on the Run to see my youngest travels abroad.
Well, the question is he going to ride with that? Is he going to fully invest in that? Yeah, John just changed in his Instagram and then made a new account to do like some travel influencing. He just graduated Loyola, for those of you guys that have been following along. And he's doing a 2-month, maybe even more, post-grad backpack in Asia.
Talk about stress.
He brought one backpack out there, my old travel backpack. And hopefully it's working out well for him. But yeah, he is staying in hostels, and he just created a new Instagram account called Tross on the Run, TROSS on the Run, which should be hilarious. Mom, your presence is potentially getting us to 600, which we are now 10 away from.
Let's go. 10 more.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait a second.
Oh, wait.
We left off with, let's see. Okay, we were at 588. Chris and Tila, who've been in generous spirits today. This is like the 3rd or 4th time they've donated.
Thank you, Chris.
And the first ones were 5 apiece. Okay, this is going to go directly towards, by the way, a driveway repaving here. But Chris and Tila have both donated on top of what they've already done. And then Park Heights Profit throws in a 10 spot to get us to the number. We're at 600.
Park Heights Profit.
Officially, we are at the 600 number entering Friday, which is awesome because Friday is Generous Day, where everybody decides to, the beauty of it, Mama, I don't even know how much I've told you about this, but PHP just gifted 10. Tila and Chris and many others have gifted memberships. YouTube randomly assigns them to people on the receiving end that are subscribers that may not even be watching right now at this moment, which I think is such a cool feature. And then after 1 month of free membership, they get the opportunity to renew. So anyway, we now have 600 people, most of whom are gifts, right? Receiving end people that now have perks to the channel, an opportunity to interact with us, an opportunity to support us. And man, PHP is just a big player, man. He is a big player.
Oh, that's great.
And everybody else has been super generous.
You have wonderful community out there.
Yep.
You really do.
It's allowed us to do some great things and give me obviously flexibility to come home here and
proud of this
spend time here. So, hey, started here 3 summers ago when I walked in here, been out of shape off a breakup and not knowing what the hell I was going to do professionally after I got fired, deservedly so. And you kind of, with 20 plus years at the time of experience of self-employed success, pushed me in that direction. And while we had no clue what the structure of that would look like,
it's not for everybody, but it definitely is for you.
If I spent 3 more years to this point in radio, I think I'd be a shell of myself. Yeah. Total shell of myself.
Timing.
So I'm happy, and thanks for giving me the leap.
Proud of you.
Pushing me to do the leap.
Love you.
Yeah.
Bud.
Love you too.
Back to work.
All right. What a cameo that was. Okay, we got more to get into too, because again, we finished off with 600. 600. Holly Keefe says, love Mama T's style. The glasses and outfit are cute. She does look good today, for sure. Rave Kingdom, who's celebrating 2 months of channel membership as an official Voltron, says, Miss Bobby Baltimore's mom, I'm ready for the rest of the tour. whatever tour you want. Not a Fan says, Bobby, you can definitely branch off and have a lifestyle content channel. Make that bread, bro. Man, I want to take this in so many different directions. You guys know me. I love what I'm building. I love that you guys love what we're building here, right? But ultimately, I want to take this thing to new heights and have different playlists, have different ways of interacting and different channels. And I want to somehow get my Facebook back. If anybody knows anybody, if anybody knows anybody within the Facebook higher ups, seriously, I would love to get my account back at some point. So if you guys know anybody at Meta, would love to be put in touch with them. Appreciate you, Steve. Holly says, yay for marketing. That was my minor in college. And Holly just graduated, right? Congratulations, Hol. You're the best. And man, oh man, Jeremiah hit me up. I'm for real. It's been 2 years, almost 2 years of, I had an account that I had built up to 50, 60,000. And one day I woke up and it had been terminated. So I would love to get that thing reactivated. Appreciate you. But wow, what a fun day. This was something else. There were a ton of memberships divvied out and gifted today. Just an awesome display of support. You guys once again get 90 minutes worth of content. Melodic Chief wants, by the way, or Chef, Melodic Chef or Melodic Chef says, anyone in Baltimore going to the first Thursday free concert at Canton Waterfront Park? I went last year. It was a lot of fun. I don't know what the weather is down in Baltimore today, but that'd be a lot of fun. I definitely encourage anybody to get out there. But yeah, you guys are the best. A lot of content today. An hour out right now at 2:30 from today's press conference, which I will react to. I probably will do a personal live stream today, so stay tuned. Rave says, I'm crying because Bobby don't know. No, I know. I chose not to know. How about that, Rave? Appreciate you. Thank you, guys. I probably will be live later this afternoon on the Bobby Baltimore side of things, so stay tuned. Yesterday I didn't because there wasn't a press conference, and quite frankly, I have a lot going on off the channel right now, just with various projects and house projects and everything that we've got going on. Dre Dog says, Bobby, I'm proud of your growth and evolution. Man, I'm proud to have you as a friend, brother. I mean that. Owe you a call in. We got to get a call in. 90 minutes of content. You guys really know how it goes, don't you? Like the video on your way out if you haven't already done so. It goes a long way. Subscribe to the channel, please. Hit that notification bell. Consider popping in tomorrow. Bobby Greed showing up. You already know that. Thank you guys for a wonderful day. Thanks to Mom for popping on. I hope you guys enjoyed that. And I will catch up with you on Friday, if not before. Thanks, guys. And as always, I appreciate you for spending some time with me and this entire crew and a fantastic community that is growing every single day right here inside the Vault. Vaultrons, I'll talk to you soon.